Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends Leftovers Part 2. Look, I did not leave that last video feeling I had done everything I could. I felt like I left something on the table. And I was talking to Deadwood Jedi last night just about my team and about a few other things, and we were chatting, and he's like, well, I think the top damage dealer might hit one key. And it could come down to RNG and what they feel their best run is, etc., etc. I was like, one key. So I really looked at my team, and we did about 25 million damage. We did about mid-20 turns. And I thought that, you know what, if I have my best gear possible on all my champions, then let's say I'd be 30 million damage, right? And if I was able to have the champions I wanted, because remember, I had to let go of the 36 champions that they pulled and start below that. Maybe I'd get another 10 million. Maybe it's 40 million. Maybe 45 million. But I felt like, wow, he's thinking 60 plus million? And I thought 40 plus, 45 million might win it. So I needed to rethink myself. I had to reinvigorate, reinvest, and really give this team my best effort. And incidentally, also yesterday, and I'll leave a pinned comment on it, there was a video done by Hell Hades talking about the different ways you can survive in the clan boss, the different ways you can push your clan boss damage higher, especially in non-unkillable teams. And also, as a little caveat, and I was talking to Deadwood about this yet as well, I never had to make that leap through the different stages of a regular team. I had one of the very, very early Roshkard Cernic comps with Light Swarm. So I went from 2-key Nightmare on a 1-to-1 team with a Skull Crusher counterattack, Tayrell, and I think I used a Bulwark as my mid so that I could get some extends, and Occult Brawler as my poison. I went from that, which was an easy 2-key Nightmare. I went from that to a 2-key Ultra Nightmare, like right away. So I didn't have to do this progression push into Ultra Nightmare like a lot of people did. And so I kind of skipped a lot of that. And so I didn't understand kind of the nuance, or I'd forgotten, or had never really dived into the nuances of non-unkillable teams in the clan boss. So when I watched Hell Hades' video, most like, hey, stalwart gear, first of all, you do lifesteal gear, and then at some point you kind of transition out of lifesteal gear into something that allows more survivability. You need ally attacks really good, and leeches are good, and then defense down, attack down, weaken if you can get, like, all these things made sense to me. And then he said something that clicked the second he said it, and it's something I had never considered: Guardian. And I don't know why I never considered it, but once he said it, the second he said it, it made total sense. And I re-envisioned the team. The team's tune was fine. It was a 2-to-1 tune. I had the champions I could have that could get the job done. Hellborn Sprite might have been a better option, but I actually didn't have a Hellborn Sprite instead of Valerie. So that basically I had the team that I had. But let's re-envision them. So let me show you the key that we ended up with once that happened. Once I thank you to Hell Hades. And a team that I'm a lot more happy with. I'm a lot more proud of, because I feel it's a better representation of what this can do, what the fun that we can do. Now I gotta find right there. Okay, so this is this is the team, same team. By the way, I also want to mention, I tried, in this run, you'll see that Tayrell does not land defense down as much as he should, because the bar gets filled. I tried 2 other methods. One, I delayed his by 1 turn, and he landed the defense down way more significantly, and yet, it did not get any more damage. That run actually died sooner than the run we're about to go through. So I thought, wow, that's crazy, but I guess in a way it doesn't shock me as much as it did originally, because 4 of my champions don't have a lot of damage. They're not a lot of physical damage. And even Urticata is not hitting kind of like the showcase video I did in Unkillable with her, she's not going to reach that level of damage either. So not having that defense down on a clan boss who has under 2,000 defense to begin with is not really as significant on this team as you would think. That's my surmise. And when you include the fact that one less debuff from Tayrel on, I think, probably 3 or 4 of his rounds is extra ticks of poison, typically under poison sensitivity, which is 62,500 each tick. So yeah, maybe Tayrel's only hitting for 12,000 instead of 20,000. That's 8,000 a hit on his A1. And yeah, that's less damage in a world, but it didn't make as much of a difference as just good RNG, not getting crit at the wrong time, making sure attacks down. So that's my thought on that. I did, like I said, I tested again. It didn't make any bigger, even though I had more decreased attacks. What was more important, or sorry, decreased defense. What was more important was decreased attack and leech always being up. The other thing is, we'll play this now. You've seen this beginning here. I actually started without her A3 this time. I don't know if it made a big lick of a difference. But the other thing I tried was DEUX. I actually re-brought DEUX into this comp because I thought, you know what? Tayrel is not landing his defense down all the time. DEUX, it's on a 3-turn cooldown instead of a 4-turn cooldown. And yes, I run the risk of a 3% resist. But if something like happened where it ended early because he didn't land that defense down, attack down off a 3% chance to resist, then I could just run another key, right? Like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So I put DEUX in. I basically gave him identical stat. I stole his gear, a little bit different, obviously, in the accessories. So I think he was a little bit faster. I went down the accuracy, or down the support tree, and gave DEUX extra chance to land. Extra chance to extend, so that, you know, even more possibility. You know what happened on the first run? DEUX wouldn't use his A2. Little known to me, at least, DEUX would not use his A2 if both decreased defense and decreased attack were up on the boss by default. He would wait a turn. And so you have to prioritize it, because I didn't. Now, in a normal world where you know you're not going to fill up your bar, that's actually a really cool ability. Knowing that DEUX isn't going to use it unless you need it. But if it falls off and then the bar gets filled with poisons and then he can't get it back up, then I'm missing a decreased attack and a decreased defense. And the run's going to go horribly. So I had to prioritize it in the preset in order to make sure DEUX would use his A2. Unfortunately, DEUX fell a little short. Not by much, but he fell short at about 29 million. It was like 28 and 29 million on the 2 times I tested him. So we went back to Tayrel. We tried Tayrel without his A3 to see if it really made any difference, and it was about 1 million short, and it was essentially all on Tayrel. So what I'm looking at is obviously a little bit of RNG would probably push the number a little bit higher, but I think the number that I achieve here is a fair representation of this team with the gear I have on it, including just basic RNG that happens during a run. And maybe, you know, this run Tayrel had some bad luck, but it could have just as easily been Urticata. If she doesn't land her Hex, that's a full cycle with no poisons being added. So there's a lot of things that can happen, a lot of different ways, and what we ended up. So I'm gonna fast forward this a bit. We're gonna go to about here, turn 25. That's about where I die in the yesterday's video, and you can see I have 5 million less damage, but I'm also still alive. And so what you see is that how I built these champions out the second time. Thank you, Hell Hades. Thank you, Deadwood Jedi. This is working a lot better now. By the way, that right there, you just saw that was the miracle slam. That would have ended the run early, and I would have had to have redo. Fortunately, she survived. We got Leech back up. There was a couple scary Leech moments, and I think ultimately this fails because of Leech. Because the Leech wasn't up when I needed it, and then by the time she got it up, it was too late for everyone to use the Leech to heal back up. But overall, I think an overall. You see what happened there too. This was a big gaffe in the fight, though it didn't end up making me pay for it. The poison ticked below 50%, which put that on. But then she took a turn and she lost it, so it was kind of useless. And you see how close that was to ruining the whole run. But thankfully, we survived. Now we're sitting at turn 35. We're above the damage we did last time. So now I'm ecstatic. I'm like, good. I've at least shown them. I've done them right. I've done right by this team. But I still want to hit a 2 key if I can. And so we're going good. Turn 35, turn 36. The stun's getting a little bit close there, but I still feel good that we got some more turns out of this. And let's see, 28 million. This is where this is where the problem begins. This is the beginning of the end here. Unfortunately for me, there's no leech. And so all these champions as they're hitting are not able to, and now the bar's full. And so, yeah, we were able to get people kind of back up. But now, Valerie took a big hit. And Urticata wasn't at full health. And there's other people at full health. Now the leech is back up, but it's too late, right? We don't have... So Urticata didn't get a War Master proc, so she didn't heal very good. Valerie did, but it didn't heal her enough. And then that's what happens. You take a $77,000 punch to the head, and this is the end of the run. We still get a few more points, obviously, because the rest of the team's still going here. But this is spelled the beginning and the end. There's no ally protect. So now that's in trouble. And then the two of them just kind of finish us off at 31 million at 41 turns. But 31 million is getting so close to a 2 key. And I ran out of silver again. And I thought, you know what? I think this still has 2 key potential in it. It would be very tight. But I think I can get 35 million. So what did I learn from this? First off, Guardian sets. And we'll show you the gear now. The second thing I learned was never surrender. No, I'm not going to. Isn't that a Corey Hart song? Is it? Corey? Never surrender. Anyway, let me show you the gear on the champions here that we changed into. If I can actually click the right buttons. Here's the gear on the champions. And it made a world of difference. And I pulled out some of the damage from everyone but Urticata. I didn't change Urticata's gear, so she's in the exact same thing. She's still at 303 crit damage, 4,000 defense, 3,100 attack, 37,000 HP. If I use my best gear, she would easily do another 5+ million. I promise you that, because I don't have any defense reduction. Right, so think of this: if I don't land that decreased defense, but she's sitting in Savage gear, would I not get more damage? I know Savage gear doesn't offer a lot; its return on investment is lessened. But if I could get these same stats with Cruel and Savage, she would obviously do more damage. And I think I could get her with more attack, because we had to sacrifice a lot of attack to get the defense stats. But I could probably drop the defense down to 3,500. The HP is tough. That's what it is. But I really believe that in Savage gear, I have the gear on my best champions to make her do 5 million more damage. I firmly believe that. Unfortunately, I just can't do that. I can't do that to my account. Now, Tyrell, we changed into a Guardian set. And so some of that damage is now coming to him on the AoEs, which means more survivability. It helps not only... the survivability of Urticata, but also the survivability of Kunoichi, who's not taking the burden of all that damage. He's second in the turn order, so that's going to help as well. And so that's the big thing there. His stats still pretty good. Way more HP now. 61,000, still 5,000 defense, way less crit damage, 98%. Don't at me, bro. And 257 accuracy. I was actually going to think of Occult Brawler, but I would have had to re-gear the whole team. Because I lose that 15% speed buff that Urticata had, so I didn't do it. Kunoichi, we moved her into Defiant and Stalwart gear. And this made a huge difference as well. She was able to reduce more damage. She was able to live longer. She was able to survive stuns that went her way. Again, you see it. Big thing here, 174 speed makes it so easy. 257. I feel like she got the RNG pain in resist, because a couple of her leeches and weakens were resisted, which probably was, didn't get the best keys because of it. Next up is So that's the 3 epics. Now we've got Valerie. I also put Valerie in a Guardian set with speed because she needed a little bit more speed. 233 crit capped, 56,000 HP, 3,300 defense. She wasn't the first one to go down, so no problems here with the gear. Again, the Guardian set, taking even more of that damage away so that the whole team can survive longer. And this absolutely worked. It was a little scarier with her. I kind of honestly would have preferred it on Apothecary, because Apothecary has a triple hitter A1, which would have improved his opportunity to re-heal himself. But if he gets 2 Giant Slayers, then all is good. But it actually worked pretty well. She did get the 10% heal on the set as well, so overall very strong. And then finally we have Apothecary that we put into a Guardian set just to be safe. I really hate this. First of all, I didn't up it. Secondly, I could not. I was 1 speed off with no speed glyphs on putting double a mortal set, which would have given me some heals, would have given me more HP. But at the end of the day, I don't think that really would have changed a ton in the speed. So there's the team. 31 million, 41 turns. I believe it's a 2-key possibility if I was to jump to my best gear. Which, if you're playing this game and you need a non-unkillable team, your best gear should be on your clan boss first. Your best gear should always be on your clan boss team until you get to 1-key Ultra Nightmare or 2-key Ultra Nightmare, one of the two, and then you can start transitioning out of that gear, or you get unkillable, or whatever it takes to start going into your best gear, into your arena team or your dungeons, that sort of thing. Always, I feel. So the only last things I want to talk about: number 1, the draft tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. UTC. Deadwood Jedi's YouTube channel, live. We're going to see the results of the other team. Number 2, my updated thoughts. Basically, I got 31, and I'm going to say now I would have easily, so with my best gear, I think I 2-key. I get about, I'm going to say 36 to 38 million on that team should I have been able to min-max them all with my best gear. I think with better champions, like they have, that's 15 million. So that's 51 million. With the better gear, I'm going to say 55 million, 60 million. Nah, I'm going to say 60 million is the winner. I think Deadwood says it could be a 1-keyer. I still don't think that any of those teams can 1-key. I hope to be proven wrong. That'd be amazing. But I'm going to say 51 million will be the winning damage. 60, that would be amazing. But I'm very excited to see how it goes. I'm very excited to see the results of the Clover draft. So please join me, check it out, and yeah, once again, as always, I am Mad Capper. Please be kind, be safe. We'll see you in the next video.